Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Joining to you live from the National News Studios, this is the National News Broadcast. I'm Malsha Dharmavardhana together with Charita Minipurarachi.
The President says an international trade office on foreign trade will be established in the country. Former President Maithripala Sirisena ordered to appear in court for not taking measures to prevent the Easter Sunday attack. An income of more than 2 million rupees received on the first day after opening the Lotus Tower. Norway assures continuous support to Sri Lanka. A large number of people visit Colombo International Book Fair. People pay their last respects to Queen Elizabeth II. Sri Lanka team for T20 World Cup has been named.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top local story. The Colombo Fort Magistrate Court has issued notices on former President Maithripala Sirisena, who has been named as a suspect in a private complaint for not taking measures to prevent the Easter Sunday terrorist attack, to appear in court on the 14th of October.
He has been issued notices after considering a complaint filed by Reverend Father Cyril Gamini and a victim of the Easter Sunday attack, Jesudasan Nadeshan. President's counsel Riensi Asakularatna appeared on behalf of the petitioners. He pointed out that as the then Defence Minister Mr. Maithripala Sirisena has committed an offence under the 298th clause of the Civil Procedure Code by the neglecting to prevent an attack when there was information available about the Easter Sunday attack. Accordingly, the President's Council requested the court to issue notices to him to summon him before the court, as naming Mr. Maithripala Sirisena as a suspect. Accepting the submission, Colombo Fort Magistrate Thilina Gamage, naming former President Maithripala Sirisena as a suspect in the case, ordered him to appear in the court on the 14th of October. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that steps will be taken to establish an international trade office on foreign trade and to update the free trade agreement up to a complex economic and technical partnership.
The President has pointed out that the obstacles for investments in Indo-Sri Lankan economic relations and obstacles that are not duties that trade sector should be overcome. The President mentioned this while attending the annual fellowship of the Sri Lanka India Society at the Taj Samudra Hotel in Colombo yesterday. It has been organized in connection with the 75th Independence Day celebration of India. About 800 Sri Lankans and Indians who worked closely with the Indian High Commission of Sri Lanka are members of the Sri Lanka India Society. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, speaking on the occasion, said that India and neighboring countries should arrive at a trade interrogation. Stating that he is happy to join the 75th Indian Independence Day ceremony, the President said that late Jawaharlal Nehru made speech then not only for India but to the entire Asia. The first Asian Relations Summit has been called before India became a free country in 1946. It paved the way for the Asian countries to join together. Thereafter, the opportunity came for an Asian and African countries to join. Accordingly, the President said that India is ahead of the other states: India, China, Japan and the main powers in Asia. The Indian national flag depicts the inauguration of the Sri Lankan society. Commencing with Sanskrit and Pali languages, the country now has Sinhala and Tamil languages as well. The President pointed out that many traditions have arrived at the countries from North India as well as South India, that there are similarities in traditions that came from Tamil Nadu and Kerala. There are common cultural heritages to both countries such as religion, culture and dance. The President said that color combinations of red and white came from Kerala. Both countries should try to overcome obstacles to economic and duties and not duties on trade. The President questioned what should be done for the integration of Southeast Asia and East Asia. Our opinion is increase trade integration with India, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bangladesh. The President pointed out that it is expected to over many sectors. It is important to arrive at trade integration with India. We should be in a prosperous society by 2047-2048. A sufficient per capita income should prevail for the higher middle class. The President said that there should be a prosperous developed economy. It would depend in trade and competition. The President said he believes that relationships maintained by India and neighbours depend on trade integration. Senior Professor Maithripala, Foreign Minister Ali Sabri, President Advisor on National Security and Head of Staff Sagala Ratnayaka, India High Commissioner in Sri Lanka Gopal Bagle, Reddy of the Indian Society and a group of people were present on this occasion. The Lotus Tower private company says that an income of more than 2 million rupees was received on the first day after opening the Lotus Tower.
Chief Executive Officer Major General Prasad Samarasinghe says 2,612 persons came yesterday to view the tower. The Lotus Tower in Colombo, which is considered as the tallest building in South Asia, was built targeting communication and entertainment. It belongs to the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission and managed by Lotus Tower Private Company. It was opened from 2 p.m. and closed at 10 p.m. yesterday. 21 foreign nationals came to view the Lotus Tower. The Lotus Tower opens at 12 noon on the weekends.
And meanwhile, the two ambassadors appointed to Sri Lanka handed over to their credentials to President Ranil Wickremesinghe today at the Presidential Secretariat. They have been appointed by Saudi Arabia and the Netherlands. Khalid Hamoud Nazar Aldan Al-Khanti has been appointed as the ambassador of Saudi Arabia to Sri Lanka. Boni Obarak Boni Obarak has been appointed as the new ambassador for Netherlands in Sri Lanka.
You're watching the national news and we continue with more local stories. Norway has assured to provide continuous support to Sri Lanka. The ambassador for Norway mentioned this during a meeting with Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. The meeting between the Prime Minister and Norwegian ambassador took place at the Prime Minister's office. The ambassador assured to continuously provide aid through NORAD and Norway Fund, although Norway would close the embassy in Colombo next year. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena thanked Norway for the support given to Sri Lanka for more than 60 years. Norway has given a special support for the local fisheries sector. Norway Development Cooperation commenced in 1976 and Hambantota South Integrated Rural Development Program is one of the main programs. The ambassador said Sri Lanka will be given more aid under Norway Fund and more cooperation programs were prepared.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says attention should be paid on climate change to direct livelihood and environmental systems in Sri Lanka during the next few decades. The Prime Minister mentioned this during a meeting with Director General of World Agriculture and Forest Science Research International Centre, Dr. Tony Simons. The meeting took place yesterday at the Prime Minister's office. The Prime Minister appreciated the agreement to strengthen the Sri Lanka's agriculture and forest growth. Mr. Tony Simons says that they are happy to support Sri Lanka's government in the development of green infrastructure using human, natural and social capital of the country.
The government has taken many steps for the welfare of Sri Lankan workers in foreign job market.
A media discussion in this regard took place yesterday at the Government Information Department. Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs R.P.A. Vibalavida said that they have set a target of 330,000. It includes not only Middle East countries but countries such as Korea, Malaysia, Romania, Poland, Israel and Japan. So far, more than 200,000 have been sent. The foreign exchange, which was about $270 million, have increased to about $325 million. However, it compared with the August last year, it is a reduction of about 16%. Various measures have been taken for the welfare of them under the direct supervision of the Prime Minister. The country needs about $500 million monthly to purchase fuel, gas and medicine. It is a positive factor to see that amount has increased up to $325 million. The results of the effort can be seen now.
Now, the Colombo International Book Fair, organized for the 23rd occasion, was commenced this morning. The national television is the official electronic media sponsor of the exhibition, which is being held at the BMICH in Colombo. Colombo International Book Fair opened at 9 a.m. with the participation of Secretary to the Ministry of Education, M.N. Ranasinghe. It will be held for 10 days from today until the 25th. The exhibition is opened for the public until 7 p.m. There are more than 400 local and foreign exhibition stalls at the fair.
And meanwhile, the Financial Committee has approved to provide a fertilizer subsidy of 20,000 rupees for a hectare for farmers who use organic fertilizer in the Maha season. Accordingly, government is scheduled to allocate 16,000 million rupees for the subsidy. Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amaravira expresses these views while attending a program organized by the UN Food and Agriculture Organization yesterday. The Agriculture Department has recommended to use 30% of organic fertilizer and 70% of chemical fertilizer for paddy cultivation in the forthcoming Maha season. A subsidy of 20,000 rupees for paddy farmers are scheduled to be given to encourage the use of organic fertilizer. The minister said that the President has approved to give 50 kilograms of urea for 10,000 rupees for the farmers who use chemical fertilizer in this season as well. The Agriculture Minister emphasized if an organization provides substandard organic fertilizer, steps will be taken to blacklist them and legal actions will be taken against them. Stay tuned for international news after this break.
That's pushed through the covers.
With international news and moving on to the international arena, a long queue continues to stay alongside the River Thames in central London, with hundreds of thousands expected to come to pay their respects to the late Queen ahead of the funeral on Monday.
Thousands of mourners have lined up to see the Queen lying in state of Westminster Hall in London. The nearest landmark at the end of the queue was South Water Park in southeast London. People have been warned that they will need to stand for many hours with few opportunities to sit down as the queue is constantly moving. Meanwhile, the media reported that the Defence Secretary and Scotland Secretary stood guard over the Queen's coffin in Westminster Hall yesterday. Both politicians are members of the Royal Company of the Archers, which functions as the monarch's bodyguard in Scotland. The Queen's coffin is being guarded in Westminster Hall by units from the Sovereign Bodyguard, the Household Division of Yeoman Warders of the Town of London.
Terima kutumi Pantan.
Taking a look at your sports news, Sri Lankan team for the T20 World Cup in Australia has been named. The team led by Dasun Shanaka includes 15 players.
Sri Lanka Cricket announced the team officially today. The sports minister has approved the team. Captain Dasun Shanaka, Dhanushka Gunatilaka, Pathum Nishanka, Kusal Mendis, Chanitha Salanka, Bahanuku Rajapaksha and Dhananjari Silva have been called as batsmen. Wanidhu Hasaranga, Mahesh Deekshana and Jeffrey Vanderseha are spinners in the team. Chamika Karunaratne, Dushmantha Chamira, Lahiru Kumara, Dilshan Vadashankar, Pramod Madhushan have been called in as fast bowlers. Matisha Patruna and Asitha Fernando, who were fast bowlers in the recently concluded Asia Cup cricket tournament, have not been called for the T20 World Cup. Sri Lanka Cricket has said Dushmantha Chamira and Lahiru Kumar, who have been injured, will join the team depending on their physical fitness. 5 reserve players have been included in the team. They are Ashwin Bandara, Praveen Jayavikrama, Dinesh Chandimal, Binura Fernando and Nuwanidhu Fernando. Ashwin Bandara and Praveen Jayavikrama are scheduled to leave for Australia, with the team for Sri Lanka will take part in the qualifying rounds for the T20 World Cup. Sri Lanka will play against Namibia, United Arab Emirates and Netherlands in the qualifying rounds, which will commence on the 16th of October. The matches of the T20 World Cup will commence on the 22nd of October. The final match is scheduled to be played on the 13th of November.
Prima Kotami Fantan.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. I'm Charita, signing off with Malsha. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.